Hello, I'm Binzer Flynn, and welcome to the Flinncast.
Shalante Vinzer.
So, anybody gone shack-wacky yet?
Oh man, I have to pace myself. I got like 2.5 weeks with the boy at home.
You can still go for walks and shit.
Oh yeah, I actually feel quite fortunate being where I am because I got the whole beach with nobody on it. So there's parks and stuff around, so it won't be too bad.
So far, so good here. Once I get home, it'll probably be a different story. But thinking in my head, I think I have enough Lego to last me at least 2 weeks.
That was the juiciest answer that ever juiced.
Oh, I have to put into this cast. I remember when we did the first shitface in hyperspace, I think, about 9 months ago, our smuggler friend Maureen announced he was going to have a baby. And today his son was born, and he named him Mal. And Maureen is a smuggler, so I think there's some trickery involved here.
Yep.
But congratulations to Maureen and Mrs. Maureen.
Still got that new baby smell.
Which I hope they get rid of pretty quickly. The smell, not the baby.
So I guess first tonight, Juice, you saw Castlevania, right? Season 3?
Yes, watched the whole thing. I actually binged it.
Right, I wanted to spend a couple minutes on that. I binged it too. Like once I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch an episode. But once I watched one, I was hooked right back in.
Good season. I enjoyed all the various plots and subplots going on. I think it was much more racier this season than it has been the previous two.
This one was a little more sexy time for sure. It's great, and this season, the first 2 seasons were pretty short. I think the first one was like 4 episodes, but this one was like 10, so they were able to take more time, and they ran storylines parallel to each other, which was kind of done in an interesting way. The voice acting in it was fucking awesome as usual. James Callis, who is Gaius Baltar from Battlestar, does Alucard, and he is so good.
So, I like Matt Frewer doing the Bishop. That character was interesting. At the very beginning, you wanted to hate him, and then he started to grow on you a bit as they stayed in the town more. But like at the very final episode, when you find out what he did, you go, "Oh, fuck! It was justified." What a piece of shit!
I didn't see that coming at all. Too, that was like a horrifying little extra on the end there.
Just a little bit, or was it Jason? Oh shoot! He was that was the judge, wasn't it? Yeah, it wasn't Matt Frewer. I'm sorry. Erase that out of the podcast. That was Jason Isaac. Jason Isaacs did the judge.
Right, Matt Frewer was the priest in the first season, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I think about it.
He was. Yeah, so Jason, okay, well, that makes it even better. Jason Isaacs always played amazing villains, and even playing a character that, started at the beginning, you thought he was a dick, but then you realize what he has to do and stuff like that. He starts to grow at you. And then at the very end, last episode, when you find out about the apple tree, you go, oh my God. A, like you said, didn't see that coming. And B, what a piece of shit. Jason Isaacs did it perfectly. Bill Knightley, Saint Germain. Great character.
Right, yeah.
Loved it.
So I think my favorite part of this season was the verbal sparring between Trevor Belmont and Sypha. Like, Sypha is my hands down favorite. She is sassy.
She's extraordinarily sassy. It's almost like she's just having fun. It's like and the thing was, it was interesting seeing her character evolve from oh, we're just having a grand bit of fun to, oh my God, this life is going to be like a horror show. What am I getting myself into?
Yeah, it was a bit of a game for her at first. And speaking of games, do you remember playing Castlevania 3 on the old 8-bit Nintendo back in the day?
This is this you'll probably find this amusing. I mean, I love all 3 seasons of Castlevania. Never played the game.
Okay, I played it a lot in junior high and high school, and you played Trevor Belmont and the Sypha character, but you never knew if it was a man or a woman. It was just someone in a white robe with fire and ice powers, and you got to play Alucard, who turned into a bat. And the only character they haven't used yet is a character called Grant, who's sort of like this piratey rogue character who can climb on walls and shit. But there's 4 playable characters in that game. But if you had told me back in 1990, whatever, that someday there's going to be a kick-ass animated show about this little 8-bit game, I would have been like, get out of here. So this season introduced a couple new characters, the Japanese character Taka and Somi. This season also kind of followed the journey of the Isaac character, which I actually really enjoyed. I kind of like Isaac.
Hey, I know, I am very ambiguous about Isaac. I mean, he's he's a Forge Master, and he's resurrecting demons and such. So, I mean, by definition, he should be an evil character. But the way he acts, carries himself around, interacts with others, especially with those that actually treat him with respect, you just gotta like the guy.
And that's just it. He's not a good guy. He's a bad guy, but I don't know, the way they followed his story, I found myself enjoying it and kind of digging it.
I was actually rooting for him towards the end. And
yeah.
He'd be very lawful evil if this was a D&D character.
Lawful, that's a good way to put it, yeah. So the other characters introduced this season were the 4 vampire sisters, and pretty interesting characters. Well, Carmela was already around, but her 3 sisters, so the 4 and 3 new ones were introduced. But I've already been seeing sexy cosplay of the Lenore character popping up. And it was actually, it was intimated sexiness, but the first one I saw, she did an amazing job. She looked just like the character in the show.
Yeah, no, and the interaction between, you're going to have to remind me of the characters, the other Forge Master that was captured, and his vampire handler / lover.
Yeah, that the Hector was the guy that was trapped, and that is the character Lenore. She's the one, the diplomat. Yeah, that's the one I'm already seeing cosplays of.
Right. Yeah. The interaction between those two throughout the season was amazing. It was really impressive to watch her start to work on just the subtle way she was working on him, and gotten to a point where he got him out of his shell, and then bang, she puts the ball and chain on him immediately, and he's, oh fuck, seriously? I fought with my dick instead of my head again.
Yeah, she was quite insidious.
It was brilliant, to be honest.
I love the animation of the show. It's very Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. I super love it, especially when Sypha's using her powers, because she uses them super creatively. And towards the end of it, she tried and managed to manifest electrical powers as well as fire and ice. And just the way they draw the action for her powers is so dynamic and fast. I love it.
Considering she only really controls 2 elements from what I've seen, fire and ice, yeah, she uses them very, very creatively. It's almost like she's almost half an avatar.
And I love it because it's such a throwback to the 8-bit Nintendo game, Castlevania 3. When you would play Sypha, you had a special power, like Trevor would throw axes or holy water, but she only had fire and ice. Ice would freeze something, you could smash it with your staff, and fire would just be a burst of flame in front of you. So again, it's just this awesome throwback to an 8-bit Nintendo game.
Yeah, no, it was very, very well done, especially the end battle at the final 2 episodes of the series.
Oh, so good. The action was fucking great.
And you know what? I know he was an evil character, but I actually enjoyed the head priest wanting to bring back Dracula. He had that quiet demeanor about him that was very calm, but you wonder if he was you wonder every time he's talking if he's suddenly going to snap and like stab you in the neck for no reason or just suddenly.
He was a good creepy character, and again, this comes back to the voice acting because the way this guy was doing the voice acting, it was so good. It drew you right in. Like this guy was kind of creepy. You didn't know what you were gonna get. Bill Nye's voice acting was so good in this too. He was fucking so good.
Oh my god, I love Bill Nye. I'm hoping we see that character again. Honestly, I know he's gone. I know he's been reunited with his love, but I still really hope that we get to see him again because he was a really good shyster.
And we'd better get another season because the way they left things, they better deliver.
The problem with Netflix is they usually don't let things go past 3 seasons.
Not for the popular stuff. So Orange is the New Black. The presidential one that they kicked the main character off in the final season was his wife.
House of Cards, man. It's so bad. Fucking Kevin Spacey, man, because I fucking loved that show and I binged it constantly, and then he ruined everything.
Yeah, you know what? I know, but still, you gotta. I know people say this all the time, and I leave it up to you or the viewer to how you want to handle it. But separating the art from the artists, sometimes it's hard, but you sometimes have to do it, especially after you watched it so much and you really love the show, but you hate the actor as a person in real life.
That was a hard one for me, and that's a funny thing people might not know about me. I actually love a good political thriller,
and it was a really decent political thriller too. Well, like I said, it's too bad the main character had to go in and be, apparently in hindsight, a bit of a dick. But I guess apparently the seventh final season with I'm trying to remember her name.
Robin Wright.
Wow, thank you. Robin Wright was fairly decent. So.
Right, I need to go back and watch that, actually.
And then, like I said, you also got Orange is the New Black as well. That ran for about 7 seasons as well. There have been a couple others that have run like 7 seasons. So if it's really popular, it usually tends to go fairly. Voltron ran at least, 6, 7 seasons?
Yeah, some were quite short, but yeah, they did, 6 or 7.
Short seasons, agreed. But still, it ran about 6 or 7 seasons too. So I think it depends. If they can keep the production values up, but the cost down, I think Netflix will continue to fund it to its logical conclusion.
I hope so. I could use a few more seasons of that. All right, you want to spend a few minutes talking about the new Clone Wars? Yep.
Anakin's best moment so far.
He got pretty dark in this one, didn't he?
Well, they got to start. They got to start working on his eventual fall to the dark side. So they need to show bits and pieces of that personality starting to come out.
When he entered the Separatist bridge, he had that scowl on his face, and all I could think of was he's making Phoenix's face right now, just without the beard.
Well, now when he killed Trench, that technically was self-defense. But, taking off 2 of his tentacles, though, that was, definitely a little dark.
So I will note he did only chop off Trench's mechanical tentacles, or spider legs, since he's technically an arachnid. But yeah, the lightsaber through the chest was a little much.
Well, if he was being electrocuted, what would you do?
Oh, for sure. I completely agree. But that is not the Jedi way.
You've played D&D with Christ. You know what he would do.
It's true. They'd be thrown from a very tall building.
Yeah, something would be slammed for sure. Big time.
I do not profess to be a Jedi Knight.
This is true. Looked like Echo was making use of his new droid parts to great effect. I noticed he's got some cool new armor and a very unique new helmet, too.
The info spike arm was pretty cool. I like that.
I hate to say this, and I kicked myself after I thought of it, but when Tech and Echo were working together, I was like, oh, Techo. Fuck.
That's a funny pun.
I know, I hate myself.
So, the only thing that I was really surprised, both in the last episode and this one, is that, Echo is like, bang, I'm back. I've been locked up in a cage, hooked up to computers for God knows how long. But yeah, I'm back in fighting shape almost instantly.
Yeah, it did seem pretty fast-tracked, didn't it?
Well, they only have 12 episodes to finish everything off, so it doesn't surprise me a bit. I mean, the last episode he was firing a blaster and defending himself against droid hordes. So I mean, it doesn't have surprise me he was back up and quote unquote running efficiently in this episode.
The other cool thing is that, or so I'm told, is that they actually changed the ending.
I felt like him walking to the Bad Batch as it was in the final shot. It was a good. It brought Echo's story arc to a conclusion, one I was pretty satisfied with.
It felt like he now had a place where he belonged and where he needs them, they need him. It's all one quote unquote happy family now. So yeah, I agree with you. It was a good closing off to his storyline.
So Juice, how long in D&D until you're going to want some of those gadgets Crosshair used to take out all those droids in the corridor?
Oh my fucking god! The mirror, the little mirror, magnetic mirrors he used. Holy shit! If I could pull that off, that would be goddamn amazing.
That was a pretty new original concept. I really dug it.
I loved it. The only thing I was a little confused about is that I was surprised that the blaster bolt continued going even after it hit something. Usually, if it would hit if you hit a droid, that's it. Blaster, droid absorbs blaster, droid go down. But this thing just kept on going and going. Now, I mean, I understand the concept. I understand the concept of ray shielded buildings. Fuck, I fired more blaster, more than one of them had it bounce around. But usually, the sucker will stop when it hits a non-shielded object.
Crosshair must have himself one special gun.
I want that gun.
I also particularly enjoyed when Wrecker was turned loose on the droids and Hunter's like, I actually feel bad for those droids.
And then at the very end, he's handed the detonation device. This is the happiest day of my life. Click.
I'm telling you, Wrecker is just Ragnarok by another name. That's his backstory. I noticed when they started their assault in this, I actually saw some jetpack troopers mixed in there.
Yeah, I saw that.
How about Mace Windu bragging about his kill count?
That was pretty funny. I was then hoping he was going to go Tarkovsky Clone Wars on the droids and take out 300 droids by himself in 5 seconds or whatever.
I really love that series.
That must not be considered canon anymore, though, is it?
No, it's legacy.
Oh.
So, yeah, unfortunately.
They were great. One question I kept asking myself through this episode is why the fuck do people just keep, even the non-droids, keep shooting at the Jedi? It doesn't work. It worked once in Revenge of the Sith, I think, but it never works. It doesn't go your way.
Programming?
I don't know. I guess you panic and just shoot, but just why do they even try it anymore? So I guess we're getting Ahsoka back the next episode. I am stoked for that.
Hurrah!
I enjoyed the Echo and Bad Batch storyline, but I am definitely ready for some Siege of Mandalore.
So how long is the Siege of Mandalore storyline supposed to last?
I think it's 4 episodes.
That surprises me. That's short.
So I think we get 3 4-episode arcs. I think. I mean, I haven't seen them, so I have no idea, but that's my assumption.
All right, let's get on to Picard.
Murder Cube, baby. Not quite the way I expected. Still got a murder cube.
7 looked badass while doing it.
I mean, we kind of theorized that this was going to sort of happen, but when it started happening, I was shitting.
When I heard the collective "We Are the Borg," I literally got a shiver down my spine.
I fucking chills, man. Oh my god.
It's just too bad that they blew all the drones out of the air, out in space. I would have loved to have seen them start to go after the remains of the Romulan crew on that cube. But
what a missed opportunity that was. I'm kind of pissed we never get a really good look at the drones either. You notice that?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, you've seen one Borg drone. You've pretty much seen them all. But the fact that I'm impressed the fact that the XBs actually reconnected to the collective as well. and went after the Romulans, just like almost like zombies.
I was shocked that the mini collective actually let Seven go as easily as they did. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't think they would let her go that easily.
But apparently she has more, and they actually called her by her human name. She has more work to do, so there you go. And I think the fact that they actually called her by her human name, they recognize she's special, and probably would be one of the reasons why they let her go.
Elnor turns and says, "Are you going to assimilate me now?" And Seven, she hesitates, and I was like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I was kind of in. There's that blunt honesty coming out again. Yeah, you're going to assimilate me now, aren't you?
He asked in his naive voice.
Just like a matter of fact, yeah, you're going to take me over now? Yes?
At the start of this episode, we saw some of the Romulan backstory here, the Romulan admonition, and their motivations for fighting so hard against synthetic life forms. This felt like Battlestar Galactica to me with the rise of AI and shit like that. And as evil as these Romulan guys seem, it seems like they have a relatable motivation for what they're doing almost, you know?
See, I'm not as big a BSG fan, mostly because I've never seen the whole thing, but it's screaming Mass Effect at me, like hardcore.
Same idea. It's just about preventing the rise of AI, basically. The idea is the same in all three, but yeah. Star Trek has never explored a backstory with AI quite like this before. What I want to know is, did somehow this ancient, AI thing, did somehow Noonien Soong somehow know about that? Did that help him start creating data and lore?
Or did he find something from these previous folk?
Yeah, there's got to be a connection there somewhere.
Yeah, he created both lore and data on a colony and not on Earth. So it could have found something from the previous civilization that like jump started his work, kind of like Terminator 2.
The Romulan that was assimilated on the last Romulan ship to be assimilated, the one that had the prophecy, she was one of the Romulans receiving the vision of the admonition. And I've only watched it the one time. I thought I might have missed the point there, but was that Romulan ship assimilated on purpose into the Borg?
They never said. I think it just said the ship got assimilated, and then shortly thereafter, the Borg cube got cut off from the collective.
It broke. Auntie's fractured mind or whatever broke it, is the implication.
Which would make an interesting premise. This vision was so powerful, it broke a species that is basically dedicated to melding human and machine life.
Well, my thought was perhaps the Borg are somehow directly descended from this ancient AI, or synths.
That's always a possibility too, because we don't quite know exactly how the Borg were originally created or how they evolved. So,
and as much as you'd love to find that out, I find there's more fun in the mystery of not knowing. That comes back to the same thing, exploring the origins of the species from Aliens or the Predators. There's, it's more fun to me not knowing.
One thing I did like about this episode is that it tied together all the plot. So, like, somebody pointed out that frequently on TV shows, the protagonists don't talk and then they make mistakes, and you as the viewer know they're making mistakes, and you just kind of want to scream, why won't you just talk to each other and this would all be fixed? I feel like that was this episode.
What are we talking about?
Oh.
Picard.
Okay, cool. Just had to catch up.
We were just talking about the Romulan admonition and the ancient AI synths. And Seven with the temporary Borg queen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Did you get the chills down the spine when the "We Are the Borg" voice sounded?
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. I'm wondering why they waited so long to actually she waited till they activated before blowing them out. By the looks of it, they could have just blown them out at any point.
Now those drones can survive in space. We know that, so they're all floating out there.
Yeah, it's weird. Seven was all like, no. And I'm like, we've seen Borg drones survive in vacuum because they don't breathe.
Well, they do breathe, sort of. I mean, if their human lungs and such are still there, and the reason why they survive in space is because, well, they have force fields around them. I'm thinking that she didn't quite have the control to be able to tell them to do that yet before they were blown out, maybe?
I don't know. The ones that were walking around outside the Enterprise in First Contact didn't seem force fielded. Maybe they were special space Borg.
I remember seeing force fields when they were shot at, so, but I could be wrong.
Spaceborg.
Sporg.
Sporg. Oh, God.
So the other thing I found really cool was the scene with all of the different emergency holograms. That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, the big therapy session. That was good. I love that the Scottish guy was the engineer.
Well, he had to be, right? He had to be.
You called it, Binzer, but yeah, it was kind of satisfying to see that all engineers in Starfleet are Scottish.
Hats off to the actor Santiago Cabrera, I think his name is. He definitely he aced his accents.
Yeah, he pulled off a bunch of different personalities and made them fairly distinct.
Yeah,
so we have the emergency engineering hologram, we have the emergency hospitality hologram, the medical hologram, the navigation, the combat. I think that's it.
Emergency combat hologram or emergency tactical hologram?
Tactical hologram. Sorry, you're right.
Aside from the medical hologram, I don't think the other ones had emergency in front of their names. Like, it was just the hospitality program. It wasn't emergency hospitality.
I think that's correct.
Quick, somebody needs a drink. Call the emergency hospitality program.
I'd be calling on that shit all the time.
That's the daily program there.
The thing I find funny is that, the ship has all of these holograms installed, but he clearly hates them all.
And given the backstory we got about Rios this time, I am finally convinced he's not actually a hologram.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we put that to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, didn't they mention there was a sixth hologram that got erased or something when he was upset?
Oh, he mentioned something about some deletions, yes.
So it's not completely off the board. Likely he's not, but
Unless, the original Rios died and this is a recreation of him. That's interesting.
But yeah, it was nice seeing some of his history and having, shoot, I lost her name. Have her try to figure out what was going on with him.
We forgot the emergency navigational hologram.
No, we said navigation.
But yeah, that whole scene with the five of them, she was like talking to five different parts of his personality was pretty damn fun. It was pretty damn neat.
So the other holodeck moment of the night was the Admiral, what's her name, Clancy or whatever, who told Picard to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I've been waiting to say this for a long time, and with all due respect, but Picard, shut the fuck up. I'm sending your squadron out.
Which I highly doubt is going to be on his side when they get there.
After the call's over, he makes like a frustrated slapper in the face motion.
Yeah, he starts going off, and she's trying to get a word in. And then she finally has to shout over him to shut the hell up. I'm sending your damn squadron. Now get the hell out of my face.
There's still 2 episodes to go, so I think we're probably going to get a lot more of the backstory with the AI stuff you're hoping for, Juice. I want more too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we will. I'm curious. I'm curious if the two AIs we know about, if they're like part of a larger quote unquote species, or were they all just created by Maddox on that planet?
I'm expecting a bunch more of Soji's.
Yeah, me too, because clearly she was one of the people on the ship that Rios ran into the first time. And they talked about how they have to make them as twins. So what happened to the other copy of that one?
Soji really acted like old Dad Data taking over a ship, no problem, huh?
Just a little bit.
I actually love the fact that he had to sing a lullaby to activate an override procedure to shut everything down again. That was actually kind of cool.
That was good. I enjoyed seeing Soji's fingers fly across the console, very Data style.
Well, now she knows herself. She's definitely starting to become more Data-ish.
But with a temper of lore when she brought her fists down on the mess hall table and dented the shit out of it.
Bad when you give androids emotions.
So I was also amused when the doctor finally woke up from her drug-induced coma, and you just see Picard there just staring at her like, if I wasn't such a nice man, I'd probably kill you by now.
And now we know the answer to the question. She was trying to destroy the isotope, even though it fucked her up. I enjoyed how she came out and was like, well, I'm not murdering people anymore, so, that's good.
Yeah, like
That's
that.
a good thing.
I'm done murdering now.
Well, I was watching this episode with Raina. I had the thought that this show must be a lot of fun for Brent Spiner to be watching at home. He's barely in it, but it's like all about him.
Yeah, his ego must be getting a massive stroke right now. But I'm going to be curious next when they finally emerge out of the transport conduit. I want to know how the heck the Romulan spy was able to reacquire them and follow him in.
We didn't really talk about the new warbirds. Those looked kind of cool.
Yeah, they actually look like birds.
Yeah, I really dug those designs. I think we're going to get a pretty good space battle of some sort before this is over.
I really hope so. I miss space. I like space battles.
Holding out hope that season 2 sees a little Worf and Geordi sprinkled in there somewhere. I would love to see more Riker and Troy too. They were so good.
Did you already do Clone Wars then?
We did, but if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them.
I really liked this episode. I enjoyed it a lot, and I really got to see Wrecker in a light that I really started to take to the character this time. So it was interesting seeing him and the little competition between him and the sniper. I want to say Crossfire, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, their little competition who could take out the most droids. But then just at the end, when Anakin grabs the self-destruct for the ship and they're flying away, he's like, "Here, Wrecker, I got something for you." He's like, "Really? Oh my!" I just thought that was hilarious.
He was so happy.
It's very Legolas and Gimli.
This is the best day ever.